Hello, ladies and gentlemen, 'tis I, Michael A. Grimm, aka the Multi-Voice. I have many voices, but one opinion. And today, this is not going to be, it is going to be part of the Doctor Who-a-thon, but it ain't going to be from the one from BBC. This is going to be like an interview talking about my personal Doctor Who series, Multi-Voice Saga. So, pretty much I would be going like and right now I'm going to start off how it all began. You see, a long time ago, I started joining a few Doctor Who groups when I became a Whovian, and it was David Tennant that got me started into Doctor Who, and that's when I started to join a Doctor Who group who makes their own fan-made Doctor Who series. But But when I started the group, I met a lot of good friends, and I made a lot of good friends, and not only did I make friends from the UK and America, I also made some friends from from Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, which I gotta say that was pretty damn awesome. And I kept thinking more and more about my doctor, how my doctor's going to betray, and how I'm going to play. And at first, I did have my doctor wear a black trench coat, but I changed it to a blue suede one because it matches the TARDIS. And why the dangling tie part? Well, I wanted something different and new. Matt Smith always had the bow tie and the fez, and and David Tennant has the sand shoes. So, and of course, Tom Baker had the scarf. So I decided to have my doctor wear a red tie that is dangling. Never bother tying it. And that's when I started the ongoing joke of people telling me to tie my tie because it looks lazy. And I say, it's not lazy, it's a laid back style. And if you look real close on some of the pictures of my doctor, my shirt had declarations of clocks all over. Now, I remember that some of the doctors always had red question marks on them, but no doctor never wore a shirt or anything that has clock designs all over, so I thought that would be very new. My doctor wear a button-up, white, short-sleeve summer shirt with clock designs all over. And I kept on pondering the idea of my doctor. Some people say, am I making my doctor be like David Tennant, Matt Smith? And a lot of people do kind of pin me as Matt Smith in a way because I'm always kind of goofy, wild, silly, a little childish, but kind of smart. And of course, after a few problems I had with some of the group. The first group I got kicked out of was my own doing, and I feel bad about it, and I wish I could go back. But the second group, there was a misunderstanding, a huge misunderstanding with some of the members of the group. But that's either here or there. And so I decided to create my own called the Gallifrey Multiverse, because we're supposed to be the Doctor from an alternate universe, but it still shared the same similarities with the BBC, but not too much. And right now, I don't like the idea of the I don't like that whole idea from the from Jodie Whittaker's episode where they telling the origin of the Doctor, saying that he is not from Gallifrey but from another planet. I just don't like that idea. I think that's stupid. It's like retelling the story of Superman and saying that he's not from Krypton. It doesn't make any frickin' sense. But I needed to have a doctor who is supposed to be the doctor before me. And that's when I had a really good friend of mine who is from Wisconsin. His name is Eric Vaughn, also known as the Lion Blade Doctor. I thought calling him the Lion Blade Doctor matches the YouTube channel. And that's why I call myself the Multi-Voice Doctor, because I'm the multi-voice reviewer. And my channel is called Multi-Voice Entertainment, so therefore I'm the Multi-Voice Doctor. And he did a really good episode called The House of Mouse, Doctor Who and the House of Mouse. And for those of you who've never seen it, I would put on a playlist on the side so you guys can just check it out when this video is over. You can check out, I did the voice of Mickey Mouse, Goofy, and Donald, while he had other people doing Davros and the Daleks. And he also put my doctor in that episode too. But the very first episode, I wanted to have something I wanted to have something that involved the very first science fiction legacy that pretty much started in history. I decided to do My Doctor Meet Frankenstein. And of course gets involved with the greatest inventor in history, Nikola Tesla, so therefore I created this episode called Frankenstein Immortality. And believe it or not, I had a lot of thought and a lot of process on that script, and I did all the lines. I did like over 200 lines and 7 characters in that audio. And then when I got kicked out of that one group, I was a little devastated. But a friend of mine who goes by the name of Cooper Spaniel, he wanted to do some Doctor Who shorts with my doctor in it. So he was nice enough to do the first one that not only I did the doctor, I also did the hologram called The Island of Lies. On that one, my doctor ended up in the beach, and the hologram tell me I'm in heaven, but I know that I'm not in heaven. And of course, there was another writer who goes by the name of Harvey Smith. I thought he was a pretty cool guy. He did this one episode called The Vocal Menace, which I thought it was a really good episode that they did there. And then Cooper made another one called The Leap of Faith. Now, some of you are wondering about the Vocal Menace. It's the Cygons. They were trying to steal vocals out of other people so they can disguise their own voice, but they kept firing my doctor, but my voice kept changing from the past doctors. And of course, The Leap of Faith, it was about a young girl who was planning to jump off a building, but my doctor showed up and showed her my TARDIS and take her into the past and makes her change her mind, which it worked. You know, I'm always against people who wants to commit suicide because it's the most saddest thing in the world. And I've heard about, some teenagers who couldn't take what they went through in their life from all the cyberbullying and all. I'm always against that. But anyway, back to now, Cooper Spaniel did another one called Labyrinth of the Woods, which I thought that was a really good one too, because I'm supposed to be helping a group of people who's supposed to deal with this illuminating, monstrous entity out in the woods, and I am supposed to be try to outsmart that thing. And then there was another one called Up the Shaft, which was a good episode, but the problem was some of the songs in that episode got a copyright claim on them, and I had to remove the music. But that's the problem. Not only did they remove the music, they removed the lines from some of the characters. So come on, YouTube! Why don't you just remove the music and not the lyrics? And not the lines? Jeez. And then this is where. And this is when, after the whole deal with Hourglass, I mean, one thing about the Hourglass, they always kept hounding me over that my doctor should do crossovers, and they say no. I want my doctor to cross over with Superman, my doctor crossover with superheroes or Wizard of Oz and all that stuff, but they always like, nope, 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 it can't, your doctor can't do that. No, mm-mm. So I did this episode just to piss them off. So I did this script called When the Time Lord Meets the Man of Steel. Now, believe it or not, when I made that episode, I had a lot of views from it. I mean, everybody seemed to love it, love the idea. I mean, they love the idea of my doctor meeting the Man of Steel and also hitting on Supergirl, because I really do love Vanessa Benoit, but who isn't? And I had Eric Vaughn playing the Daleks while I did Superman and Brainiac and all the others. Now, I also like to introduce you to Yana Zazinski. Yana Zazinski. Now, she did the voice of Supergirl, and she did an outstanding job. I mean, she was like one of the best voice actresses I ever met. And it was before I decided to have her become the Marvelous Doctor, but I'll get to the Marvelous Doctor later. And then this is when I was ready to introduce a new companion. And that new companion is none other than Hannah Blossoma, voiced by my dear friend Laura Williams. Now, I met Laura Williams, and one thing about her, she was autistic, and the years I've chatted with her and the years I talked to her, she was like a sister to me, because she goes through a lot of hard times, and I'm always there to back her up and always stood up for her, and I always spoke out for her. I mean, Laura is one of my dearest friends that I always admire, because she's really talented and gifted as well. It's just too bad that those assholes out there who's trying to say bad stuff about her and make her life miserable. And it's a pain in the ass, because I really hate these jackasses. But when I gave her a part playing my companion, believe it or not, when she was planning to quit her YouTube channel, she was also trying to quit voice acting. But I put a stop to it. I let her do voice acting for my audios. And she really loved doing Hannah Blossoma. Very much. I mean, she really enjoys playing that character, because she thought it was the most interesting character. And for those of you who are wondering how I got the idea of Hannah Blossoma, well, some people might think I took Hannah Blossoma from the Cyber Girl from Torchwood, which I never watched Torchwood in my life. But I did base Hannah Blossoma from Seven of Nine from Star Trek. And for those of you who know about Seven of Nine from Star Trek, she was a Borg, but they start giving her free will and all. And that's exactly what I'm kind of basing that from Hannah Blossoma. That she decided to become... she decided to become my companion because she wants to learn how to be human. But a little something extra I did for her, I made her become a gamer. So she's a cyber companion who's a gamer girl, who enjoys playing Sonic the Hedgehog and other cyberpunk video games. And of course, not only did I have her playing Hannah Blossoma, I have Yana, as always, doing the voice of the Minister Chance and Mary Shelley. Because on this one, a bunch of Cybermen found Frankenstein and they helped him become a god. And now he controls the Cybermen, so it's up to me, with a little help from the Minister Chance, to give me a temporary godlike power until it wears off after I'm done with Frankenstein. And it's not a Frankenstein monster, it's Dr. Frankenstein himself, which that is explained in the cult on the Frankenstein immortality. And I decided to add Mary Shelley in it because everybody always kept telling me that Mary Shelley was the Doctor's companion, since I mentioned that in my Paul McGann review. And, of course, during the time when she's gone through a few cyberbullying, she was so miserable, I decided to help cheer her up by doing a video that she has a full line. I mean, she has all the lines in this one. So it's more like an introduction short, which is called Hannah the Cyber Companion Introduction, where she talks about her life until my doctor shows up and tells her full name, Hannah Blossoma. And then Cooper, he contacted me again, called The Angel's Strategy, where it's about my doctor in World War II, and it turns out some of the German soldiers are using weeping angels as weapons. And then I met this other fan who is a friend to Jericho Kane, the same guy who does the voice of Flash Gordon. His name was John Allen, and he'd written a script for my doctor. So the script that he written was called Nature versus Nurture. And it's about my doctor and Hannah goes into a planet that is pretty much a forest planet full of talking trees. And there turns out that there is a bad guy who is behind some sort of corporation who keeps burning the forests for profits. So it's up to my doctor and Hannah to stop him. John Allen did a really great job of writing that script and gave me the honors of editing it, doing the voice, and getting the voice from other people. And tell you the truth, sometimes I write my own scripts, but sometimes I do like to have some help from other people to do some writings for me. Because sometimes it gets exhausting for me to think about another episode for my doctor to go through. And of course, I had a good friend who goes by the name of Kayla Johnson, who did the voice of 2 Talking Trees. And then my dear friend Yana, her birthday was coming up, and I wrote a script for the Doctor After Me, so I decided to have Yana be the Doctor After Me, which she is the Marvelous Doctor. And the reason why I had her as the Marvelous Doctor, why is she called the Marvelous Doctor? Well, I mean, her YouTube channel is called Marvel Girl. But I made it as a running joke. I mean, not a running joke, but a running gag, that every time when somebody looks at her, they always say, "You look marvelous." So that's why she's called the Marvelous Doctor, because every time when somebody sees her, they always say, "You look marvelous." That's why she's the Marvelous Doctor. And I had her appear in this episode called Beware the Clockwork Girl. Yeah, I got myself into that whole creepypasta stuff. So I took the story of creepypasta and make it more Whovian in a way by making her part human, part Time Lord, and she's the daughter of the Rani. Except she went through a time vortex, so now it's making her age rapidly. So she's trying to sustain herself by stealing the youth out of other people by saying, "Your time is up." And of course, I also had... Now, I had Yana's husband, who goes by the name of Alex Jezevinsky, playing the Marvelous Doctor's companion, Colonel Shepard of UNIT. I thought that this Marvelous Doctor should get involved with UNIT, so now she has a colonel on her side who is a companion in her adventures, which he is voiced by her husband. So I just thought have the two lovebirds, the two couples together as the Doctor and the companion. And I also have Leela Chance do the voice of the Constable Ryan. Now Leah Chance, she's a really good friend of mine from the UK, and I met her while I met another guy, which I'm going to talk about sooner. And then after I did my Doctor Meets Superman, I thought of another DC character that my Doctor should also meet from the stars. So I decided to let my Doctor meet Lobo, and the episode will be called Lobo's Price on the Doctor's Head. On this one, Lobo, the bounty hunter from another planet, is hired by the Daleks to kill the Doctor. But those fragged bastards ripped me off. So I join the Doc and get back at the Daleks. Now, usually I'm a huge DC fan. Oh, and one more thing I wanted you to know. Now, some people might say, do I make my Doctor be like Matt Smith and all that? But to be honest, I decided to make my Doctor be more like Star-Lord, man. Guardians of the Galaxy. Hey, hey, what's the matter with me? Feel right? It don't feel right. Come and get your love. Bound, ba-dum, bound. Come and get your love. Bound, ba-dum, bound. Oh. Oh, yeah, I have the mask on. So, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I decided to make my Doctor be more like if Star-Lord was a Time Lord. I love this mask, and it was given to me by Yana herself. So, speaking of Star-Lord and Guardians of the Galaxy, that's when, I mean, even though I'm a huge fan of DC, there is one thing I do like on Marvel, which I did mention in one of my videos. I love the Guardians of the Galaxy. And I decided to do the only crossover with Marvel from my Doctor, which is Doctor Who Guardians of the Galaxy. And I had one of my dear friends from the Philippines who used to be my girlfriend, but things didn't go well, but we still stay friends. Shahani, she did the voice of Mantis, which she did a great job doing. And then, when the new year was coming, and not this new year, but the last new year was coming, and I heard about the 60th anniversary, that's when I decided to do a Doctor Who event. At first, I did start it out. It was supposed to be my Doctor and Jericho Kane's Doctor meet up, but I kept thinking about Yana, Eric, Doctor in it, and then tons of others. So therefore, I decided to round up all the Doctors in this huge crossover event. And this event is called Disturbance in the Multiverse. In this one, Omega wants to find his godlike powers and trying to find an object called the Multiverse Equation, which is supposed to be a portal that opens to other worlds, to other dimension. So my Doctor who met... So, pretty much, I have my Doctor, and I also did the voice of Tom Baker's Doctor, David Tennant, Richard E. Grant from the Shaka, and Peter Cushing. Say, that reminds me, I should review the Doctor Who movies with Peter Cushing. And also, I did David Warner from the Doctor Who Beyond. Except I did not know about Nicholas Briggs until now. But, usual, I had Jericho Kane's Doctor, and I had Eric Vaughn's Doctor, Yana's Doctor. Now, this guy was a good friend of mine, and when I was in those other groups, I mean, they didn't want to cross over with his doctor, so I decided to let him cross over into our universe. So I had William Haler, his doctor, in this event, which he was really happy, and also got him into audio dramas, and now he's making audio adventures of his doctor now. And of course I had Leah Chance's doctor, since she plays a doctor in William's series. And I had the one from Australia, Isaac Trevor, the mysterious doctor. I have his doctor in it. Now, here's one thing that's kind of shocking to me. I'm still friends with the Velocity doctor, Crystal Moore, and I asked her would she like to make an appearance as her doctor in my event, and I thought she would say no, but instead she said yes, and I was shocked. I was really shocked. And of course I had my old friend from the Odyssey group, Adam Fishwick's doctor, in this. Now, here is something that kind of shocked me the most. Now, even though I'm a huge fan of Doctor Who from the BBC era, but some of you probably realize what is my favorite fan-made Doctor Who series that I enjoy watching. I love the Doctor Who Ginger Chronicles series. And surprisingly enough, believe it or not, I had Lily Nelson, who played the Ginger Doctor, in my friends list. And I asked her would she like to play her doctor in this event. And when she said yes, I felt like I invited a celebrity in this event. I mean, one of my favorites is making an appearance in that audio. And I'm also thinking about doing like a sort of a solo crossover, like maybe one of these days my doctor and her doctor cross over again, and try to think up what kind of adventures that my doctor and her doctor is going to deal with. And then I also have Peter C. Scott, his doctor, in this. And I also have Mark Bray, since he invited me to a stream of his friends. So I thought I should have his doctor make an appearance, and I asked him, and he was like, sure. And then I met a Canadian Whovian who goes by the name of Rhianna Lehman. I asked her would she likes to play the doctor in my event. She was like, sure. And of course there was another one I met who goes by the name of Nicholas Crow. Now, when I asked Nicholas Crow would he likes to play the doctor in my event, I mean, he was like, yeah, hell yeah, I'll do it. And he was really honored and happy that I put him in my episode. And I even had Ewan from New Zealand, his doctor, in my event. And I also did have Trenton Bless. I think I got his name right. Trenton Bless, that I met from the Odyssey group to make an appearance as his doctor in my event. And I had him co-wrote his lines for his doctors. That's why I had him in the credit as a co-writer. And he said it's been like 7 years. We'll now make it, it was like 7 years since he ever played his doctor in his own series. And it kind of felt good for him to get back into his doctor persona. So he kind of thanked me for asking him to play his doctor in this event. And Nicholas Crow, his way of thanking me for giving him a part in my event is he gave my doctor a part in his event, which I have the black and white but not in color one, called The Crack in the Multiverse. Turns out he was doing the same thing I was doing, rounding up all the guys who play their own doctors and have them all make their own play their own Doctor in this event, which I was really honored to be a part of that. And then I decided to make a new enemy for my Doctor, so I did sort of another introduction vid called The New Nemesis for the Doctor, where I don't have anybody to play. I mean, I wanted to have the Master for the first time, and I decided to play the Master, but let the Master looks a little bit more like me. But he regenerated to look like me, but it didn't become successful, so the Daleks rebuilt his body with the Dalek technology. So now he calls himself Master Dalek. And if I am going to do an episode where my Doctor meets the Master Dalek, sooner or later I just need some ideas, some clues, something to help me out. And right now there are a couple of Doctor Who episodes that I'm working on. As soon as I think up something, some adventures for the future. Oh yeah, and I also, in that Doctor Who event I mentioned, Disturbance in the Multiverse, I decided to have a brief cameo playing Buck Rogers while Jericho Kane plays Flash Gordon. Reference to that Flash Gordon meets Buck Rogers. And for those of you who are wondering about the sequel, well, guess what? I got the lines for one character. I'm still waiting for the other one. So things are going pretty smoothly. And now I'm working in this event where it's going to focus on the Marvelous Doctor. And this one is called The Search for the Missing Doctor. And it has Eric and Yana's Doctor, except Yana's the main focus. Hannah's going to be in it, and so is Colonel Shepard. And of course, it's my Doctor who gets kidnapped by the Silence. And it's also going to introduce another character who's helping me out, which is the Timeless Ronnie, voiced by my girlfriend, Liz Jezik. Which she calls herself the Timeless Ronnie. Yeah, she decided to become the Ronnie instead of the Doctor, which I was like, okay, because she wanted to be a companion, so I guess 2 companions wouldn't hurt. And I'm also working on another script. This one is not DC or Marvel, but this one's from the Pulp Fiction era, where my Doctor meets, where it's called The Shadow Knows the Doctor. Yeah, I'm making that as an homage to the old radio shows of The Shadow, since I'm a huge fan of The Shadow. And here is one DC crossover that I'm also working on a script called Where Hope Burns Bright, where my Doctor meets Green Lantern and ends up in the planet where the Blue Lantern Corps is. And on this one, 2 Daleks, one becomes a member of the Sinestro Corps, and the other one's going to be a member of the Red Lantern Corps. So one's going to have the fear, and the other one's going to have the rage, while my Doctor, at first going to have a Green Lantern ring, but it turns out I have more hope in my heart, so I'm going to be chosen to have a Blue Lantern heart. Something like this. Where Hope Burns Bright. And of course, now this one I'm not going to be editing this one. I'm done with the script, but this is for Laura. If Laura decided to retire for playing Hannah, if she's tired of playing Hannah, this is for a future episode, which is Doctor Who meets Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century. On that one, I was, it's a farewell to Hannah, which, a little spoilers, I ain't gonna kill her off, because I don't want I hate some of the Doctor Who episode where some of the companions gets killed, so I decided to leave a happy ending for Hannah. And also, there's a new guy I met who goes by the name of Dale Robinson. He wants to play the 14th Doctor, so I need to think up an idea where his 14th Doctor crosses over with mine because he's dying to play the Doctor. So I'm kind of working on the idea of my Doctor meets his Doctor. Oh yeah, my old friend Cooper did another Doctor Who editing, and I did the voice for it, and I'm still waiting for Cooper to be done editing it so he can send it to me, which is called Doctor Who Conquest of the Cybermen, where my Doctor goes to Paris and the Cyberman starts invading. And another DC idea I thought of, I haven't done the script yet, but I did thought of an idea called Save Earth from Apocalypse. On that idea, Darkseid starts controlling the Daleks and is about ready to attack Earth. So now it's going to be up to my Doctor, Superman, Martian Manhunter, Lobo, Green Lantern, and a couple of other DC superheroes trying to stop Darkseid. Oh yeah, and I'm also planning that my Doctor should cross over and meet the Filipino superhero Darna, and also dealing against her arch nemesis Valentina. I just need to think of some sort of snake-like alien that would get involved with Valentina, so my Doctor and Darna should team up together. And that is my review for the day. And if those you, that is my intro and ideas and behind the scene, well, sort of the interview for the day. And if any of you like this interview, please leave a comment down below, hit like and subscribe. As for me, I'm not going to be doing any more Doctor Who because I was getting really tired of doing Doctor Who, so I will do Christopher Eccleston and all the others and even the theatrical movies next year. Who knows?